The Anarcho-Christian Revolution. Welcome back to Be
Anarchy.
Gentle, Be Ruthless. We're going to get into it. You got some good points for us. Prepping.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is coming off the backbone of last week's episode where we discussed a little bit of the economic uncertainty that we're facing in our country nowadays. And let's just call it how it is. Everything is kind of let's just be honest here. With that being said, anarcho-Christianity is a term that I have coined. I haven't seen it anywhere else. Maybe there's another term for what I'm describing, but I call it this. And it almost sounds like an oxymoron when you talk about Christianity and anarchy, but the origin of it comes mostly in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, where you had a lot of conservative and a lot of Christian circles on the internet asking essentially they're asking for their pound of flesh. Um, a lot of the rhetoric I see surrounding Christianity nowadays and how we should behave socially is very reminiscent of the grunge anarchy culture of the 90s, hence the anarcho. However, this is rooted with the basis and values of Christianity, whereas in the 90s it was really rooted in secularism. Let's get a couple things cleared out before we really delve deep into this topic. Firstly, although some of the rhetoric online does sometimes get violent, in no way, shape, or form are we condoning violence. You shouldn't be hurting people. You shouldn't be destroying property. That is not how you live a good Christian life. The Bible never ever calls for you to be violent. It calls for self defense. Never does it ever call for violence. Neither will we. Secondly, when I say the word revolution, a lot of people have this American Revolution, the French Revolution thought in mind, where it is innately violent. Again, that is not what we're calling for. What we want to do here is give you some step by step instructions on how you can make a difference in society, how you can go about your day to day life, and using the power that you do have to influence society to be more aligned with Christianity with the same values that America had in its early stages. First point of topic is voting. Now, I know what you may or may not say in the comments about the conspiracies around voting. I get it. I know. But as of right now in the political space, voting is the greatest tool you have to enact changes on a political level. It is also the most long-term strategy, given that there are terms to each of these political figures. So you may say now that you want to vote someone in with your ideals in mind. That may not happen for another 3, 4 years. The reason you should be flexing your vote is, let's just call it how it is. Politicians, at the end of the day, what they care about most is getting votes and either gaining power or staying in power. So if you go out there and let's say you typically fall more Republican conservative, but you feel like maybe your mayor, your congressman, senator isn't representing the values that you have. And so you don't necessarily want to go to the Democratic Party, but you don't want to stick with the Republican Party. There is third party voting. You can go independent, you can go Tea Party, Libertarian, any one of them, whoever is fitting best with your values. And if enough people do that, and the current politician sees that everyone's doing it, it's going to influence them to make changes, even if they get voted in again.
You kind of already know my thoughts on it, man. Um, the bottom line is voting does not yield. I think you said this earlier. Voting doesn't yield bad fruit. Um, while I have my own reservations about voting and its effectiveness, I will say it ultimately doesn't hurt. You have to vote in the way of your pockets, your interests, and your beliefs. It's also a little bit tricky. It's very tricky because politicians, which I'm not going to name any names, can promote and say one thing during the campaign and do something else completely at the time that they are elected, which is why I have my own reservations for it. But at the same time, the same way you have the power to vote, you also have the power to influence how long people could stay in certain elected seats. And you can push for laws that could change how long these seats are held and what stipulations could cause a person to be removed from power. So basically, you can vote the people in that you want to vote for, and you can prompt them to create and pass laws that will determine what will happen should they not deliver on their promise of certain votes. I believe while doing this individually, candidate by candidate, the system will be slow to be effective, but it can work. But it requires a near total buy in. So while it can work, it will work slowly and surely take its time. Ultimately, the same way certain organizations move to fund select politicians into certain seats, collectively you have to decide how you want to vote when backing your candidate, whoever that is. So that requires donations, that requires advertisements, efforts, requires a lot of spreading the word. And ultimately, you have to vote for a person who is like you in that sense. If you're voting for a politician who talks a good game, but they are far removed from the people that they claim to support and represent, common sense should tell you probably not a good candidate, despite what they say. Likewise, if you have a candidate who comes from the place that they are trying to support and the people they're trying to uplift, there has to be a thorough vetting of that person. Have they been compromised? Who are they being influenced by? What could they be doing in the background that could determine your course of life should they be elected? All these things need to be investigated and out in the forefront, in my opinion. But regardless, they all are going to go into your decision of choosing the right candidate to vote for and support.
Yeah, it's not an easy task. It can be very tedious, but ultimately it is extremely important. Now, you mentioned earlier voting with your wallet, and that goes on to point number two is your resources and how you utilize them. I see a lot of people, especially right now, they're complaining about the bankers and people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. And that's great. I think that these people should be criticized for their involvement in politics, or rather, their over involvement and over representation in politics. But ultimately, you, as the people, put them in power. And I know you're going to say, but Nick, I didn't vote for Jeff Bezos. But you did. Every single Amazon purchase you made was your vote to Jeff Bezos. Every single time you logged onto Facebook and you thought that, oh, it's cool, like it's a free thing, yada yada yada. No, it wasn't free. You just didn't have to pay money for it. You gave Mark Zuckerberg another vote. The only moral code that these mega corporations really have is the dollar. And we see this time and time again. What was it? I think it was last year, maybe the year before, Bud Light had that ad campaign, and overnight everyone stopped buying Bud Light. They took the campaign down and they put out a new one. And they basically said, I'm sorry. I don't want to lose your business. I'm sorry. You can do the same thing with all of these other mega corporations: Walmart, Target, Amazon, Kroger is a big grocery one. You have the ability to shop locally, find a product that gets you farm to table direct, working with farmers, whether it's through a farmer's market, or I know some other companies do something similar. You can, when you buy clothing, go buy clothing from a small business owner. Now, I will give you the benefit of the doubt in saying that typically these products and services are a little bit more expensive given the nature of them. I get it, and I understand times are tough, but if you want to make change in our society, you need to target the people in power. And again, I'll make this so clear. When I say target, I don't mean harm in any way, shape, or form. But you need to be looking at these people and asking yourself what gives them power. Oh, it's my Amazon purchases. I don't like Jeff Bezos, so I'm gonna stop buying stuff off Amazon. It's as simple as that. Or I don't like Walmart. I don't like, maybe you don't like some of their business practices. That's fine. Go shop somewhere else. Go find a go find a company that does align with your values and vote for them with your wallet. Same with social media. I'm just going to be honest with you. If you're not using social media for a specific reason, just delete it completely. And even if you are using social media for a specific reason, it's still probably a good thing to stay off of it. I mentioned earlier, we talked about Facebook. It's a free service, but the reality is it's not free. You're just not paying with your dollar. You're paying in your data. If you don't like the fact that Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter, or I guess X, or I don't know what's another popular one. I think it's most all of them. A Blue Sky is another big one. The only one you should be on is YouTube, and the only page you should be looking at is Be Gentle, Be Ruthless. So like, comment, subscribe. If you don't like the fact that these companies and effectively the people who run these companies have your data and can do whatever they want with it, get off social media. I will say, when it comes to social media, it can be used usefully, and here's what I mean. You can learn stuff off on social media. Me personally, I follow a few carpentry pages on Instagram. I follow a few Christian pages on Instagram, and I'm using these pages to learn things and gain skills in a non-traditional way like school. Secondly is independent media, like us here on YouTube. I mean, not exactly, but having an independent media source is, I think, one of the best things you can do for yourself. Let's just call it how it is. Fox, CNN, MSNBC, they're all owned by the same people. They all have the same agenda. They're all biased in the same direction. We all know this. So if you're using social media to get some kind of independent news, I think that's perfectly fine. Ultimately, what I'm here to say is, as much as you can, start rejecting modernity. You can still participate in society while trying to exclude yourself from all the bad stuff of our modern world, like social media, like Amazon. And if you want to, in effect, make real change throughout the society, these are the kind of steps that you need to do. It's not going to be comfortable, but it's what needs to be done.
I think voting with your attention and your wallets are important. A lot of times people don't understand what they're voting for until they swipe, or because they're doing something out of habit so long. They don't realize it's support for things that don't have their best interest at heart. Prime example, spending money on luxuries. Economically, if funds were not spent on luxuries, but instead funneled toward other various things like small businesses and other things that have your best interest at heart, I think collectively, bigger businesses would suffer the most. Just like how the Bud Light campaign was unsuccessful because people were just not rocking with it. They didn't like it. And the change was swift and it was immediate because the sales were declining. You know, I think the power of the dollar probably speaks more volumes than riots, than protests, than your Facebook rants. I think that is huge. And I really think it cripples a lot more than I think it cripples a lot further than just your political vote or just your opinion that you keep reserved to yourself. Furthermore, those votes that you have with your wallet, some of that can even be used against you. Prime example, when we willingly participate in products marketed by celebrities, these things feed algorithms. They tell corporations, hey, this demographic purchased this product more because this person promoted it. Let's do this more often to target this demographic even further. Just by buying, there's a whole system and a machine that moves to target you again, to siphon more dollars away from you, which is time and attention and energy and money gone. I think it's really important with food, right? So we talk about resources, we talk about prepping and things like that, but we also don't talk about what we could do proactively and preemptively. If we know certain food companies, certain brands don't, let's just say they're not good for you. Prime example, right? I'm gonna just call out Burger King, right? You know, if we know the food isn't good for us, if we know we want preservatives out of the food, stop buying the food. There's going to be a test to figure out, hey, why are sales declining for this specific thing? Oh, well, the people don't want this preservative in it. Take it out so they'll buy it. Simple. Oh, well, this other company is making a similar product without this stuff in it, and people are gravitating toward that. And usually you have these giant companies try and monopolize things and try and buy these smaller companies off, right? Which happens a lot. But at the same time, attention goes where the money flows. And that will force the hand of a lot of these corporations who monopolize the game and who aren't looking out for you and your interests.
Yeah, and when that does happen and your least favorite big business buys out your favorite small business, rinse and repeat. Do it again. Stop
100%.
supporting that business. Just go find another one. Better yet, make your own. That's a big reason why we started this YouTube channel. There's a lot of fantastic YouTubers out there. There's a lot of fantastic Christian YouTubers and Christian content out there. But ultimately, we wanted to stop being consumers and start being producers of this all. Now, if you want to know more about what products are going to be good for you, which companies are going to be good for you, the individual Ian Carroll on YouTube, I'll post a screenshot of his page, is a fantastic resource for all that stuff. Most recently that I've seen from him, he does a deep dive into women's hygiene products. Fantastic resource on the products you're actually buying. On top of that, when we come in next week and we're talking about more prepping, we'll be discussing what brands we think align with our values and what brands we enjoy using. However, none of it is sponsored. Lastly, I know what you're thinking to yourself. You're saying, I'm only one person. There's 350 million people in the country. How can I, as one person, make a difference? I'll tell you, it all starts on the community level. Here on this channel, it's all about community. It's all about fellowship in Christ. And I'll even go as far as to say that it's also fellowship outside of Christ. And here's what I mean by that. Let's say you're living in an apartment building like myself, and let's say your neighbor's some like tattooed, blue-haired barista liberal, stereotypical barista liberal. Imagine the good you can do if you showed that individual that you're kind, that you're charitable, that no matter what their worldview is, that you will still offer a hand of kindness. Imagine what that might do to that person. They may think twice about their preconceived notions on Christianity. You may even evangelize them into the church. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing to do? And don't get me
100%.
wrong, I'm not lost on the fact that some of these people want to kill you. And we know this to be true based off the interactions that we saw on social media in the light of Charlie Kirk's assassination. If you're not up to date, there were thousands of TikToks, Facebook posts, Reddit posts, Twitter posts saying that he got what he deserved and more should happen.
Out the crime statistics? Not exactly like
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events.
So I keep on seeing like posts about this Charlie dude, whatever, Kirk dude, whatever. Regardless. And let me just say this. I'm surprised that y'all didn't get rid of him sooner. And I'm surprised that you guys aren't getting rid of more people. Like, don't stop with him. Don't let him be the end all. Get rid of them all. His wife deserves to go too. Y'all keep on talking about his wife and kids. They need to go too because they're carrying on that mentality and that lineage. Like, get rid of the whole family. I'm so sorry. Why did you guys stop with him? Why did you stop with him? Go get his grandma. Because who raised you?
I want to dedicate this next one to an absolute piece of shit of a human being. The pronouns was, were. Because if you chat shit, you will get banned. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, a piece of shit.
We got Charlie in the neck. We got Charlie in the neck. Who's up next? We got Charlie in the neck.
So I completely understand that some of these people want Christians and they want conservatives dead. It's not your job to go out and seek some sort of fucked up justice that you have in your head. Your job is to be kind and be gentle and charitable and show them that no matter what their transgressions are, Jesus Christ still loves them. Jesus Christ still died for their sins, and they have the opportunity to turn away from this sinful Satanist lifestyle that they have. And I would even go as far as to say it's probably the greatest thing that you can do as a Christian is turn someone away from all that darkness. That's what we're called to do. That, in and of itself, is the revolution. The revolution is not going out with your pitchforks and your torches and being angry and pissed off because some left-wing lunatic killed one of your idols. That's not the revolution that I condone, and it's not the revolution I'm going to be a part of. The revolution I'm going to be a part of is the one where Jesus Christ is shaping hearts and shaping minds in people, turning them away from sin, turning them away from violence, showing them that there's a better path, showing them that Christians are all these things that we claim to be, that is, in essence, the revolution. So, break bread with these people, have fellowship with these people, show them the light.
Bars.
Appreciate that.
Mm,
I had an Anthony Mitchell moment there for a second.
that was extremely well put. In the words of Anthony Mitchell, read your Bible.
Yeah, I like Anthony Mitchell a lot. Another fantastic. I mean, he's a preacher, but I'm gonna call him a content creator for the sake of the statement. Fantastic content creator. Yeah, go check out Anthony Mitchell over at 2819 Church. Fantastic pastor. And if for some reason he ends up seeing this video, come on, get on our show. We would love to have you. I want to talk to you. I want to get to know you. So, if you're watching this video, spread this video around until he sees it. I want him to know what we got going on over here. I want him to be a part of it, and I want to speak to the man.
I got nothing I want to add, man. You said the quiet part out loud. People need to be gentle, you know. And what's the adage? You have to be quick to think, slow to speak.
Be quick to think, slow to anger, and slower to speak.
That's the one. So doing that in your walk daily serve you tremendously. It will take much restraint, but being a man of God and being like Christ, who we should be following and walking in his footsteps, that is the way to be, period. So couldn't have said it better, man.
Appreciate that. If you have the chance to find someone in need, there's going to be a lot of them this weekend. As of the time of this recording on October 30th, SNAP benefits are shutting down come November 1st. If you know an elderly person who relies on SNAP benefits to survive, get them a meal. If you know a single mother who's relying on these benefits to feed her children, get them a meal. I'll leave it at that. Everyone out there, have a blessed weekend.